Hello students, welcome in 7th standard. I am your science teacher DEEPTI TAMHANKAR. Today I am going to start with the second chapter of science, that is plants, structure and function. So let us start with the chapter. Students, we have learned in 6th standard plus in previous lesson also that this world is full of living things. This is a living world. Why? Because variety of plants and animals we find on this earth, and they have adapted themselves according to the environment they are present in. So now in this lesson we are going to learn about plants, their structure and function. You all know the basic parts of plants. You can see in the diagram, roots, stem, leaves, flowers, fruits are the parts of a plant. By studying these parts, we can identify the type and species of plants. So let us start with the first part of plant, that is root. Now when we talk about root, we should know the formation of root. And for this purpose, there is experiment about seed germination which is given in the textbook page number 10. Now for this experiment, one moistened ball of crumpled paper in a conical flask we have to keep, and some soaked moth beans or gram seeds in a flask we have to keep between the paper and the glass ball. Now observe and note the changes in the seeds in 2 to 3 days. Or else at home you can keep the moth beans or any kind of beans, okay, or gram seeds, moisten them, okay, put it in water and observe it in 1 or 2 days. Now since it is rainy season, it will take time. After 2 days you might have seen a sprout comes out of it. Now what is that sprout? Yes, that sprout which is coming out from the seed, that process is known as germination. And from that seed, the two parts you can see which were coming out. The upper part is known as plumule, and the lower part which is going towards downwards, it is known as radicle. Now what is radicle and what is plumule? Now radicle is the part that grows from inside the seed towards the soil. It forms the root system of the future plant. Root grow under the soil. You all know this basic thing, that root grows under the soil. Roots support the plant, and that is the foundation of the plant. If roots are strong, the trees will be strong forever, and if the roots are weak, the plant will also become weak. It won't stand strongly. Okay, so roots are the foundation system. So the radicle is forming the future roots, and plumule is the part that grows above the soil as the seed germinates. It forms future shoot system. It grows above the soil. Now shoot system is the another parts of plant which is above the soil. It develops from the plumule. There are many types of roots. Now the picture which you are observing, that is of taproot. Now as the name suggests, taproot, it is tapping towards the end. It tapers towards the end because taproot is thicker at the base. Taproot produces secondary roots. Secondary roots grow obliquely and spread far and wide in the soil. Taproots support the plant. You all can observe the taproot is pointing sharply at the end, and then branches have coming out of another roots are producing from the main taproot. Okay, it produces those branches are known as secondary roots, and this is how it supports the plant. It grows obliquely and it spread far and wide in the soil. This is called as taproot. Student, this is again a picture of taproot. Here roots bear hair-like processes near the root tips. These are root hairs. You can observe root hairs. Yes, the root tip is also delicate, and so it is covered by a cap-like structure. It is called root cap. See below, root tip is covered by a root cap because that is a region of the growth of the root. So it needs to protect from injuries, and so it is covered by a root cap. Student, as we have seen taproot, this is another type of root. It is called as fibrous root. Yes, you can see there is vast difference. The picture of taproot and the picture which you are observing, this is about fibrous root. Now for this purpose, again one more simple experiment is given in the textbook. Take a glass jar and fill 3/4 of it with water. Place an onion on the mouth of the jar in such a way that its roots are towards the water. Observe the growth of the roots for 8 days. What you will observe? Thread-like, fiber-like roots arising from the stem are called fibrous roots. How these roots are? Thread-like, fiber-like. So it is called as fibrous root. So what you have understood now, there are two main types of roots, tap roots and fibrous roots. Now, dicotyledonous plants have tap roots, while monocotyledonous plants have fibrous roots. Students, the root of pea, mustard, coriander show the growth of taproot, whereas sorghum, maize show the fibrous root. Now here you can see the picture. It is about adventitious roots. Now what is adventitious roots? Some roots grow from the stem just above the soil. Above the soil. Actually the roots are below the soil, but some roots grow above the soil, and these are called adventitious roots. Maize, sugarcane, sorghum have two types of roots. Adventitious roots above the soil and roots growing under the soil. So this is the adventitious roots which you can observe in the picture. Student, you all have learned the functions of roots. What are they? Holding and catching the soil firmly, absorption of water and minerals, giving to the stem from the soil, right? Supporting to the plant. So these are some basic functions of the roots. Now, the picture which you are observing, it is about modified roots. In modified roots, there are different types, that is aerial roots, stilt roots, runners, breathing roots or pneumatophores. Now, functions of modified roots. Why do we call them modified roots? We all know the basic functions, but besides this functions of roots perform some additional functions, and that is why they modify themselves. They change themselves according to that function, and that is why they are known as modified roots. For example, aerial root. Aerial roots are modified roots. What it does, it absorption of moisture from air. Second is modified root is stilt root. Stilt root, what it does, supporting the plant above the soil. Third type is runners. Runners is again a modified roots. What it does, vegetative propagation. Propagation, that is reproduction. In reproduction process, these roots are playing important functions, so they are known as runners. It is again a modified roots. Then breathing roots or pneumatophores. Breathing roots or pneumatophores are again modified roots, and what it does, which function it does breathing. It does breathing, and that is why it is a modified roots. Now one more type of root is there, prop root. Prop root is mainly seen in banyan tree, and these roots arise from branches. They grow towards the soil. Once reaching the soil, they support the canopy of a huge tree, and that is why the banyan tree, we can see they last for many years, and because it is so strong, because of the roots, prop roots, which are mainly developed into them. Student, the next important part of a plant after root is stem. Now stem, where it is, the stem grows above the soil. the sprouting seed produces plumule. We have seen that. And from plumule, the stem grows. Length of stem gradually increases as the sprout grows. Nodes on the stem are the points from where the leaves come out. Between two successive nodes is an internode. The tip or the apical end of the stem is called bud. Observe the picture carefully so that you can identify the nodes, internodes, bud, growing end, and leaves which are coming out from the nodes, from the bud, right? Now, what are the functions of stem? The functions of stems are as follows: to hold the branches of the plant, to perform function of photosynthesis in a cactus, to transport water absorbed by the roots to all the parts of the plants, and to transport food prepared by the leaves to various parts of the plant. Modified stem perform the functions such as food storage, reproduction, supports, etc. And the next important part of plant is leaf. Singular we say leaf and plural we say leaves. So leaves arrives from the nodes on a stem. Generally leaves are thin, flat and green in color. Leaf blade or lamella, the broad spread out part of the leaf, is called leaf blade or lamina. Then leaf margin, the border or we can say edge of the leaf, is called leaf margin. Leaf margin have different types: entire leaf margin, dented leaf margin and lobed leaf margin. Then the pointed tip you all can see, that is called as leaf apex, the tip of the leaf. Types of leaf apex are also different: tapering, pointed or rounded as per the shape of the leaf. Then petiole. Petiole is a part of leaf, the stalk of leaf. Some leaves have petioles, some do not have petioles. Then leaf base, the below part of the leaf, the portion of the leaf attached to the stem, that part is called as leaf base. Then stipules, small leaf-like structures near the leaf base. Some leaves have stipules, some leaves do not have stipules. So, as per the type of leaves, this structure is varied. Then there are different types of leaves. The two main types are simple leaves and compound leaves. Now simple leaves is such a leaf, the picture which you are observing, that is of simple leaf. Single undivided leaf blade with single midrib. This is a leaf, simple leaf picture. And compound leaf is such a leaf where leaf blade is divided into many small leaflets. So that is called as compound leaf. Now we will see the functions of leaves. Production of food by performing photosynthesis is the main function, you all know that. Then transpiration, that is giving out excess of water. Modified leaves, like how modified roots we saw, the same way modified leaves also perform additional functions such as reproduction, food storage, support, etc. So this is how the leaf is important part of plant. In different plants, the arrangement of leaves on the stem is different. It may be alternate, opposite, brilled, spiral, etc. According to shape, leaves are rounded, that is abovate, palmate, lanceolate and linear, etc. Student, this is both the pictures are of leaves, but there is lot of difference. Now what is the difference? That difference is internal structure of veins. Now inside the leaf there is a vein structure, and that is called as venation. The arrangement of the veins in the leaf is called venation. And there are two main types of venation: reticulate venation and parallel venation. The first picture which you are observing, that is of reticulate venation, where the leaf is divided into two equal parts by a single midvein laying in the midline on the leaf blade. It is called reticulate venation. In this type, the secondary veins arise from the midvein forming a branch network or reticulum. And the second type is parallel venation, where all the veins run parallel to each other from the leaf base to the leaf apex. It is called parallel venation. Reticulate venation examples are dicotyledonous plants like peepal and hibiscus, and parallel venation monocotyledonous plants like maize, banana. So you also can observe into your surroundings different kinds of venation of leaves and note down your observations. Student, you all have know this flower. This flower is called as hibiscus flower. Now in this lesson you have vertical structure of hibiscus flower. You have to observe carefully fully open hibiscus flower. Over here picture is given of that same. Now here first part which we are observing, that is pedicel. The stalk of the flower is called pedicel. It may be long or short. One end is attached to stem. The second part is receptacle. End of the pedicel which is attached to flower is enlarged and swollen. This is called a receptacle. The third part is calyx. Outermost whorl of the flower, green in color, protective in nature. The petals in bud condition are covered by calyx. Then fourth part is corolla. Petals make the corolla. Petals may be colored or white. You all have seen this hibiscus flower we get in different shades also sometimes. Then the petals arrangements are also different. Then the fifth part is, which you are observing here, that is androecium. What is androecium? The male reproductive part of the flower which is made up of stamens. Each stamen has an anther and a filament. The next part is gynoecium. What is gynoecium? It is a female reproductive part of the flower which is made up of carpels. Each carpel consists of stigma, style and ovary. It means in one flower only both male and female reproductive systems are available, which is known as androecium and gynoecium, and their pollination process or fertilization process took place inside the flower. Now for that process pollination is the term used. Now pollen grains that are released from the anther fall on the stigma of another flower. This process is called pollination. And fertilization, the ovals or egg cells in the ovary are fertilized by the pollen grains fallen on stigma. This process is called fertilization, and this is how the reproduction of hibiscus flower is taking place. Now we have seen the pollination and fertilization process in the hibiscus flower. The seeds are formed from fertilized ovals, whereas the ovary develops into fruit. Now fruit is such a part of each plant which has its own specific characteristics. Each fruit has its own taste, its own structure, color, shape, size, right? The variations in fruits are with respect to their shape, color, taste, skin or shell, fleshy part or seeds. Seeds are also there. Some fruits bear only one seed, some fruits have many seeds. Fruits like cashew has its seeds outside the fruit. All I have seen cashew nut fruit, the seed is outside. And dicotyledonous seeds can be divided into two equal parts, and monocotyledonous cannot be divided into two equal parts. We have seen earlier these two terms, dicotyledonous and monocotyledonous plants. That dicotyledonous, which is divided into two equal parts, for example peas, then mustard, coriander, which has taproot, that is all possess taproot, and that is dicotyledonous seeds. Whereas sorghum, that is jowar, maize, they possess fibrous root, they have monocotyledonous seeds. Which type of seeds they possess? Monocotyledonous seeds. So this is how different kinds of seeds, and depend on that seeds the arrangement of plant is also different. Student, I hope you all have understood the lesson. Plant structure and function. In this lesson we have seen different types of roots, then stem, the parts of stem, leaf, different types of leaves, then Venetian, types of Venetian, flower. In the flower we have seen the vertical structure of hibiscus flower, and then fruit, right? So you all have to listen to the video carefully and read the lesson for more better understanding, as well as in your surroundings you can observe the plants, their types of leaves, their Venetian, fruits, and you can note down your observations. Thank you.